I'm a proud Somali American. I appear before you today not just as a civil rights advocate, but as a witness. I'm here to testify to a sustained pattern of organized disinformation and targeted harassment against the Somali American community. What I'm describing is a familiar American story. It has been updated to the digital age, but it remains rooted in long-standing systemic racial fear. Since 2025 election, we have witnessed and documented an organized, coordinated hate targeting Somali Americans marked by nearly identical language appearing across multiple online platforms within a compressed time frame. This activity originated and organized in MAGA online spaces, was designed, manufactured fear to dehumanize an entire community. President Trump amplified and legitimized those narratives on social media, culminating in Christmas Day statements referring to Somali Americans as garbage. Words from a president of the United States are not symbolic. They authorize behavior. They normalize harassment. They escalate threats, and they lower the barrier to violence. Somali Americans sit in an intersection of multiple marginalized identities. We are Black, we're immigrants, and we're Muslim. As a result, our community has been scapegoated through sweeping narratives that criminalize our entire community based on identity rather than evidence. This reflects a broad institutional pattern that has targeted Black and immigrant communities for generations, from segregation, redlining, surveillance programs, travel bans, and voter suppression. In fact, today, if you look at the travel ban, 24 out of the 54 African nations have a travel restriction. Don't tell me that President Trump does not hate Black people. Targeting our Congresswoman Ilhan Omar had produced measurable consequences not only for her family, but our community. Coinciding with increased attacks against mosques, today Minnesota leads the nation in reported mosque attacks. This escalation is not isolated, it's connected. At the same time, these narratives have been used to expand the federal enforcement against our community in our state. Somali Americans have been living in Minnesota for nearly 30 years. And yes, I was among one of the first ones that came. And the water was just fine in Minnesota. We told the rest of the people to come down. Our children represent the United States in Olympics. My community, we are health workers, drivers, teachers, laborers, entrepreneurs, engineers, public servants. In fact, at the lowest number that ICE knows, 95% of our community are either lawful residents or US citizens. In fact, 51% of our population are born here. Somali Americans do not belong here because of our economic productivity. We belong here because we are Americans. ICE enforcement targeting our community has been significant. Parents are contacting our office and asking whether it's safe to send their children. Elders are asking and carrying immigration documents simply to go to their mosque to practice their faith. Businesses are closing across our state. Refugees who fled war, who had been vetted, are now being swept in the past few days. This is not about public safety. This is about community destabilization. Former FBI whistleblower Terry Aubrey warned us years ago about institutional bias directing Somali Americans within the federal law enforcement here. Those warnings have been ignored. The consequences are now visible. They came for the Somalis, but they got all of us. Today, Renee Good is murdered. She was not a Somali American. She was not an immigrant. But she stood up, she bore the witness, and paid the price. Her death is a warning of the unchecked enforcement of dehumanization that needs to stop. Dr. King warned us, injustice left unchecked spreads. And that is why we are asking all of you today as Congress to act. Do your job. Stand up for the Constitution and the American people. Our lives depend on it. Our nation depends on it. and the world depends on